Happy Sunday. I'm pretty excited about today because we're going to continue to Gelli print on fabric. And so, any case, there. Okay. Now that I know that I'm live, sorry. For those of you joining today, thank you for watching. And for those of you that catch this on replay, thank you again for watching my live. Again, I'm pretty excited about the Gelli printing on fabric, and I've kind of stumbled into a new world of quilting, if you will. So part of the things that I want to show today is the patterns that we're going to Gelli print on the fabric. But before I do that, I want to show you what my goal is. So this right here is a quilt. I've never quilted before. I am brand spanking new sewer, but I really enjoy the fabric printing on the Gelli printing on fabric. And so I was trying to figure out what to do with them. And I have some good friends that are quilters and some family members. And so I thought I'd try my hand at this particular quilt. Now, I know it's August. However, it's going to take me probably to October 31st to create this quilt. And this quilt has 16 different fabrics in it. So let me just show those here. And while I could just make my life easy and go buy this Gelli roll and create that quilt, I thought it'd be fun to create my own fabric, if you will. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to start working on creating these fabrics. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll have another channel. I'm not sure, but we'll see how that goes with turning these fabrics into that quilt that I was showing. So further ado, let's go ahead and go camera down so I can show you a few things. So the one thing that I did with the fabrics, and I'll just show you a few that I created already. Is I created this this particular one out of a stencil that I created, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But could you buy stencils that have spider webs on them? Sure. But what would be the fun in not creating your own, stencil? So I'll show you about that in a minute. Now, this particular piece of fabric that I created was with the Tim Holtz stencil. And I found it really difficult because these were so tiny. I had to really pound the paint in to this fabric. So I decided to do something different. This is another scrap. It's got some crows on it, and we'll go over those. This is a ghost print here of some pumpkins. And its companion piece is, where is it? Oh, this was the original one. Okay, so I created a stencil for this particular pattern, and after I pulled it, then I pulled the ghost print. And if you've watched my videos, I explain what a ghost print is, but it's basically the second print. Then I created the spider web stencil, the spider stencil. And then this was the ghost print. This was the original print. And then this was the ghost print from it. And that really turned out awesome. So I'll show you those stencils. A few bats here, but it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to look. So I came up with another solution that I think I like better, but I can always incorporate this fabric into my quilt that I would like to make. And then I have some couple other prints. Now, I did create a few back that we're going to print on top. And, oh, and here's the skeletons. So I made some larger skeletons after printing this one. So let me show you how I made those stencils real quick. So the stencil material that I used is from Hobby Lobby. They're 12 by 18 and there's 3 sheets for $4.49. And if you have a Cameo, Silhouette, or a Cricut Maker, you can create your own stencils. And this is what the stencil material looks like. So instead of me trying to go and find all these Halloween stencils and buy them and have them shipped to my house, I thought I'd create my own. And let me just show you what I created with. So when I show you these, I'd like for you to drop in the comments, if you wouldn't mind, which stencil you'd like for me to jelly print with first. Because we have to create 16 fabrics and I don't nearly have 16 fabrics, if you will. So this is the new bat stencil that I created. Let me put these out of the way. It's hard to see. This is the new bat stencil that I created. So if you'd like for me to start with that one first, let me know. I created a punchinella. If you remember last time in my video, I had these punchinella, which is what sequins are made out of. And this is the leftover after sequins are punched. And so I created my own giant punchinella. So I thought it would be really fun to do like a gray and a black dot, basically, out of the punchinella. Then this is the pumpkin mask that I was showing earlier. And then we have the spider web. And then I have the spiders. So I also created some witches and some crows and some black cats. And these are the leftovers. So these can become patterns themselves onto fabric. But I also have the positive space. Where's those cats at? I also have the cats that we could place as mask. So it will block out the paint, the purple. Like if we did it on purple and we did black on top of the purple, then the purple cat would show through. Or you could do the reverse where you can make black cats on top of the purple. So when I created these stencils, I got a 2-for-1, if you will, because I was able to utilize the positive and negative shape from these stencils. And so this is the crow. And I think this one's going to be fun. The witches. I have the witches here and I think they're really cute. But these are the little witches that I printed out. So just one second, there's a spot there. So I think these would be really cute to jelly print. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start making our own fabrics. So let's just talk. Does anybody have any questions about the fabrics or anything that I was speaking about? So just drop them in the chat window. Just one second here. I just want to show you again. We have 16 fabrics and about 100 strips of each of these fabrics we'll have to cut for that particular quilt. Now, I'm not going to make this cute little pumpkin or this this candle, but it's to give the theming of Halloween. So I chose to create my own instead. Thanks, Meredith. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, when we did jelly printing before, I mentioned about golden acrylic color 900. And this, you put this with your paints and it makes your fabric last longer as far as the paint color, and how often you wash it. Quilts, it depends on what kind of quilt. If you got a bedspread quilt or a quilt that you put on your couch, you may wash that more often than you do a quilt that hangs. So this is to help the paint not be so stiff and to last longer, so you don't lose the quality of the paint that's in the quilt. So we'll be using that, and let's just go ahead and get warmed up. and before I start printing on these fabrics. Let's make a few background colors here so that we have something to print on. So if we look up here in our window, we see that I got some purples and some pinks. So why don't we just start there? Some magenta colors and see what we come up with. Now, I really like the Winsor Newton paints, but you could use any paints for this, and you can use any paints with the golden acrylic 900, but the Winsor Newtons are by far my favorite. So I'm going to, and then when you're gelli printing with fabric, you're going to use more paint than you would with paper. It just tends to work a lot better in that way. And let's see here. Add a little bit of purple and okay, so I got some, it looks like hot pink and some magenta and some purple in here, and let's stir this up and see what we get. Add a little bit of the 900. And I'm just mixing my paint onto the plate. Now I have an extra gel plate in case I want to use that. You never know what kind of a bonus print you're going to get. But typically I do not mix my paint onto my plate when I'm printing with paper. I typically do that just only with the fabrics. Now I do like to use my extra gel plate to roll off my brayer because that's like a bonus print. We're going to lay this on here. Now the type of fabric I'm using is a muslin fabric. And I like to use extra muslin to wipe up any extra paint. But I did a pretty good job that time, so I didn't have a lot. So let's pull this and see if I had enough paint on my plate here. It's a little lighter, but that's okay. We'll just go for another round. But that's what we came up with. It's a little lighter than I had expected, so let's try another one. So I just have to add a little bit more paint, and I'll add a little bit more purple this time. I think I'm going to need a little bit more here. Yeah, that looks about right now. It feels different for sure. Okay, and as a real quick reminder, we'll talk about that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you when you have too much paint on your brayer or you're mixing your brayer. So let me just lay this down first and I'll show you something. Now, if you don't want paint on your hands like me, you can always take a piece of paper. Here I just have some deli paper, and you can lay it on top, and you can use that to rub any paint off the plate as well as off your hands, so your hands don't get paint on them. If you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, you know that that doesn't matter to me. Now, you see all this paint build up right here? You will want to get that off your brush because it will build up to the point where, see all that right there? That's a lot. Where you will have a hard time rolling your brayer out. So all I do is I just put it on this other plate right here and just use it as an effect for another pull. So let's see what we got there. I knew there was some back there. And then you can just roll off your excess brayer. All right, let's see what we have. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the difference between this one and this one. See the lighter, you see more muslin through the paint than you do with this one. Now I have a couple of rolls here where I rolled my brayer a little too hard, but that's okay. Think of that as texture. So we'll put those to the side, let them dry. And another color that we can mess around with is orange. So let's make a couple orange background. And remember that red and yellow make orange. And then we'll have a little bit of purple or pink, fuchsia, whatever color you want to make that. That will come through because it's left over from the plate. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. So I may have too much red, and if I do, we'll just add a little bit more yellow, but this color's okay. I do want a little bit more yellow, so we'll just add a little bit more. So right now, for those of you just joining us, I'm just creating some backgrounds that we can add our stencils to and just getting started. So welcome and thank you for joining. And if you're catching this on replay, thank you for watching. I'll let that sit for a minute. Look at that orange glob right there. Ooh, a nice red-orange color. That's pretty bright. But once we add some stencils onto that, it will turn out really cool. All right, let's try another more of a lighter orange. I'm going to go with a little bit of a orange brown. Ooh, might got too much there, but thanks, Meredith. Thanks for joining. Got a big old glob right here. We're just going to grab that, stick that back on there. Hi, Sandra. How are you? You're not late to the party. We're just getting started. We're creating some background so we can start adding our patterns to our papers. I mean, our fabric. So you haven't missed anything. I was just talking about how I created my own stencils, and I'm trying to jump into the pool of quilting, and we talked about the quilt that I'm looking at creating, and it's a Halloween themed, and since I'm a brand new quilter and I have never made a quilt before, it's probably going to take me a long time to create a quilt, but I have some help. I have some good mentors that will help me along, and we'll see how that goes. But I just really enjoy printing on fabrics and making my own fabric. So right now we're just laying some background colors so that I can start using, and I'll show you my stencils that I created. Now this has a lot left over right here. This is going to be exciting. I don't think I have anything left on my brayer. So what I think I'm going to do is I want to do a color that's going to help pop that out. I think I'm gonna have to go with yellow. Man, I use yellow a lot. I don't know what the deal is, but yellow's a good color. It really is. Yeah. Let's try this more of a muted yellow ochre color. Now this over here, we're just building up layers because eventually I'm going to pull a print from here. Yeah, I'll show you, Sandra, towards the end, I'll show you the quilt, and that way you wouldn't miss it. And it's a free pattern. The moderator can drop a link if you want to check it out of what quilt I'm going to do with my painted fabrics. He can drop a link for you in the chat, and you could go check that out. It's a free pattern, and I don't own the pattern, but it was one that I found on the internet. And I'm just using deli paper as to protect my hands, but I'm all up in it. So it depends on if you like paint on your hands or not. I just use it sometimes. It just depends on how much paint I have on the plate. Let's see if we got any of that. Nope, we just laid more color down. That's going to be awesome when we pull it. But there's a yellow ochre color. So, let's get this extra paint off of here, off our roller. All right, I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do with this here. Okay, the paints I'm using are Winsor Newton, and I love Winsor Newton paints. So we're just going to add quite a bit here, and I'm going to try to pull up what's left on the plate, and then we're going to get started with our patterns. Now, while we're letting that really sink in this time, after I rub it here, I'm going to go over the stencils again. And for those of you that joined late, I'd be interested in seeing which one you'd be would like for me to start with first. Or do you want to see them all? Like I said, I have a bunch of a mask. Oh, I also have the ghost mask too. I'll show you all these. Hold on. We're just going to let this sit for a minute. I'm going to run this right here is a glass Baron, and I'm just going to rub this really well before I show you the other stuff, because I'm trying to get up all that excess paint that's on the plate right now. It'll eventually come up as we do more pulls, but I thought it would be fun to see what will transpire. The Baron just adds extra weight to your hand. And for those of you, I don't have arthritis, but for those of you that do, a Baron really helps if you can't push hard onto the plate. So there's speedball Barons. This just happens to be a glass one, so it's got some weight to it. Okay. Now, we'll just let those sit and cook for a minute. Not for reals, but just let them breathe for a minute. But what I wanted to show was, check out my ghost. These are little ghost mask. So a mask is when if we wanted to do, let's say this one, and we wanted our ghost to be orange, we would lay these out. And then on top of maybe another color like black, let's say. And then when we print and pull these back, the ghost will be orange. And I have some cute skeletons as well. Oh, where are my skeletons? Oh, there they are. Some skeletons. And then you can also do like a pattern, if you will, with your mask. So you could do skeleton, ghost, whatever. I also have some other cute little witches. And I have, obviously I have pumpkins, right? So if you wanted the pumpkins to be orange, you'd lay out some pumpkins. And I have some bats, some crows, and some cats and crows. So these are my mask. Now, usually when you buy a mask from someplace, you only get one. But when I created my stencils, I was able to create 14 witches if I wanted a smattering of witches everywhere. So that's one of the reasons why I created my own stencils. Now, let me just show you the stencils. So let's think about this orange one for a minute. And tell me, oh, I am using muslin, Sandra. I'm just printing on muslin. So tell me below if you'd like to see the spiders, the spider web, the pumpkins. We could do pumpkins easily here and maybe do like a purple. We might do that one. We'll see. Unless somebody else has a preference. This resembles to me like punchinella. So have that one. And then also I have the bats. Now these would be, we could do purple bats or black bats. But does anybody have a preference? Okay. So all right, let's go ahead and pull these and see what kind of pulls we get. So this was from the gel plate. So we got this interesting pull here. And then this was from the bigger gel plate. And so that was this one. Okay. That was all the different layers that was on the plate. So let's just go ahead and let's do the pumpkins. Oh, bats and witches. Okay. Yep. I can do that for you, Sandra. Let's do that on the orange. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Do I want that? No. We're going to do a color first. Okay. Let's do the looking for my purple. 1 second. Supposed to be hanging out here. Might make our own purple if I don't find it here in a minute. Red and blue make purple, but I knew I had a purple. Okay. Let's go with this and add a little bit of lighter purple to it. Okay. All right, stir this puppy up. Oh, a little bit more blue than I expected. We're not getting the purple I want. Got to add some more red. Okay, it looks more magenta, but it is what it is. We're going to rub some over here. I have so much paint on this plate right now. I could fill up 2 plates. So let's see what we get. Now, when I put the mask down, I'm always concerned that the paint starts to dry because it takes a little bit to put the mask down. So what I will do, if I feel like it's starting to get a little bit too dry, is I will mist it with some water. So, let's see here. Do I have some more other witches? Yep, that's what I'm looking for right there. Okay. And throw in a few bats. Let's see. Do I have enough? Oh. Okay. Another little bat. And another little. Okay. Now we're just gonna push them down just a little bit. Make sure that they're in there pretty good. Still pretty wet because I have a lot of paint, so I'm not gonna mist it this time around. Now let's go ahead. I have a couple orange pieces, so I'm gonna cover all the orange. Good little print there. Okay. Okay, one thing I like to do with my mask, especially when they have some holes in them, you know, like where the arms are against the body, I kind of like to go over and make sure that we have a really good contact with these. So you don't normally have to rub this much. I just wanted to make sure that we had really good contact. All right. I think we're good. Let's pull this other one. This one's going to be different because I laid a piece of muslin on top of another piece of muslin, and so let's see what we get. So we got some good impressions right here, and then we can do something else right there. And then this one was another piece of muslin. Now what's trapped underneath here is going to be purple or magenta. And it's going to be the same for this one. So this will be a good ghost print after we pull these. Now what's interesting is that not all the paint mixed, so you got some blue streaks in there, which I kind of like because those are opposite colors. And then we got some really good contact with some of the witches and the bats. So I'm going to pull these off. And I'm going to throw them in water immediately, because what I find is that on this type of stencil material, it's better to wash these off. I typically do not wash off my stencils, but for this stencil material, I definitely do. So I'm just going to pick these up real quick and throw them into the pan of water. And this will give these time to dry that we can pull a ghost print and see what that looks like. Thanks, Sandra. Now, these ghost prints aren't going to be perfect. They're going to be kind of fuzzy, but because they're not perfect images, and that's okay. It's just to give you and I guess a representation is the word I'm looking for. Okay. Now, let's see what happens. We're going to let this dry just a little bit. And let's think about the color. Because remember, the colors in our palette. It might be really nice to go with a lighter color so that these pop out. So we could go with that lighter purple that I originally had. And then what we'll do is we'll try out some of my new stencils. I haven't had an opportunity to try out yet because I can't. Those are going to be really cool. And especially that gray and black dot that I want to try. All right. We'll see what happens. This looks a little drier than this one, but we're going in. Ooh. I'll let that dry just a little bit more. I forgot to clean off my brush here. Or my roller. A lot of paint. There's a lot of paint on here. We'll see what happens. We might sacrifice the witches and the bats over here. There's just a lot of paint. Gotta keep that brayer rolling. All right. Here we go. let that sit. Let's just roll this out. This will be interesting to see what we get. All right, here we go. Let's pull this one first. It's like a box of chocolates. Now, what I like is we got a lot of the orange left over from that first pull, and we got some shadows of some other witches and bats, and then when I use the brush right here, so that created an interesting texture to that particular one. But this one, we'll see what we have in here. All right. Okay, Sandra, if you're still with me, check this out. Another reason why I like Winsor Newton is because it pulls up previous layers of paint and it adds an interesting effect to your fabric. Gelli printing fabric is not going to be like standard factory printing of patterns. It's going to have different effects added to it. But here's a contrasting color between the light purple and the dark of those witches. Okay, so we'll just put those to the side. Now, dying to try out the gray and the black dot. So let's see what happens here. First, we're going to make our foundation layer, which is going to be the gray. It might have a little purple in it, which I'm fine with. Okay. Let's mix all this. Again, more of that grunge paint coming up. That's why I like those Winsor Newtons. All right, this is the one I'm really after right here. Awesome coverage. I like how the mixture of the paint didn't get mixed up, but it created this marbling effect. Looks like we have a couple of strings right here. So we're going to let that dry for a minute. And we're going to take out this punchinella looking stencil. And we're going to do black. And we could probably put some over here and maybe do on the smaller page, do like those black bats. So we'll see what happens there. I'm just cleaning the edges of my brayer off so it doesn't get clogged. And we'll mix this gray up with that black. Okay. See what, oh, there's some black right there. Gotta get that rolled out. All right, here we go. Let's lay, hold on one second. Let's put this one down first. And then we're gonna do the bats. Now, I have a technique that I use. In just a minute, I'll show you what that is. It's kind of similar to what we did with the witches. Okay. Because these are circles, has anybody ever seen one of these? These are used to make like flowers with and curl them. It's a stylus. Okay. I'm going to use a stylus to just quickly go through some of these holes to make sure that we have good contact. This does not put a hole in your plate, and it also helps with some of that contact. You can also rub your fingers through it if you don't have a stylus. Now, the other thing I like about this stylus, besides that it has two different kinds of ends, is that for your bats, you could do the same kind of thing. Just kind of feel your way around and really get in between those bats to get a good contact. Okay. Now, you don't have to spend this much time, okay? I just want you to know. You could just lay it down and just keep rubbing it and get what you get. But when you do the skeletons with their eyes and their nose, it really helps having that extra contact, if you will. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, there's our bat. What's going to be interesting is that everything that's underneath this stencil is black. So if we pull this and then add another color on top, you're going to get the reverse. So you'll get the ghost image. Okay. Now, this is the one I'm really interested in. I wanted to see how this turned out when I created this stencil. All right. Oh, that turned out awesome. Look at that. I made polka dot fabric. Okay, again, when I pull the stencil, it's going to be the reverse. So this is going to be a really interesting ghost image. We'll go with this one first, and then we'll try this one. Clean the brayer. While I have a minute here by cleaning the brayer, anybody have any questions regarding gelli printing or my techniques? Now, I do things a little different than some. And gelli printing is all about finding your own way and doing what is what you like to do. Let's try a magenta maybe. Oh, they're over here. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of this hot pink. It's not really hot pink, it's called Opera Rose, but it looks hot pink to me. And we're going to add some of this magenta. All right, here we go. Might even have some for over here. We'll see. For this one, let's add a little bit of my favorite turquoise color. Oh, there's that purple I was looking for. I'll add a little bit of that too. I'm just cleaning off my brayer here. All right, here we go. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, we're gonna let that cook just a little bit. Let me get it with the bearing real quick. I am really interested to see how this ghost print turned out. Okay, let's pull up the bats. Well, there we go. We got some magenta bats. Ghost print. Now, I think next we're going to try ghosting some skulls and see what happens there. And I'm going to try it on one of the fabrics that we pre-printed earlier in this live. All right, let's pull this and let's do this first one. Ooh. Liking that color. I like that color though. That's gonna be nice. See how this turns out? Oh, I'm a little nervous. Nope, didn't turn out as I had hoped. We still have a lot. Well, it's interesting what we did get, though. We did get something interesting. I really like these colors. And we got some dots in here, which was the goal. but most of it is still sitting on the plate. Look at that. I could have left this on here a little longer. We're probably going to have to pull this with like a white and see what we get. I bet it'll be really awesome. So we'll just let that sit a little longer, and we'll just play with some ghosts and bats over here. Not ghosts and bats, I'm sorry. Ghosts and skulls. So we'll just put some, go this way with them. So what I want. Okay. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, John. I really liked it too. I can't wait to pull this one. This one's going to be interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to go with like a purple black color. This has got a lot of paint on it because I'm used to working on the bigger plate. All right, let's take our ghost. And let's make a pattern. These will just go off the edge. Okay. Could have put them a little better, but it is what it is. Okay. Now, we're going to take this lighter fabric. Again, this is where I take my stylist after I rub this a little bit more. And I'm going to get into the eyes of the, where are they? Oh, there they are. It's hard to find them sometimes. Smaller stylus. Where's the smaller? I have a smaller one here. All right, here we go. Check that one out. That turned out pretty cool. And I like how it's not totally purple down here. It fades. Okay, we ready to pull this one? I'm going to put white on it. Part of me wants to do yellow, but we'll see how this goes. I think I'm going to take a different brayer for this one. Because, Lord, that one is loaded. Let's see what we got. Let me clean this off first. Don't want any of that paint to... Oh, oh. Okay. Get those out of the way. That one's actually pretty clean. All right, what do y'all think? Yellow or white for this background to see what we pull? The white will make the colors really pop. The yellow will just give it an interesting effect, but it's a lighter color, so I would think that it would pop. Now, I do have this green gold that would be pretty cool too, because it'll give it a green color. So I am open. Now I can go straight up green as well, but I think it's going to blend in too much. Want to go green, gold, or do we want to do white? What do y'all think? We're going to pull this whole print up. We could even go this hot pink. That might work too. Or we can go yellow. Ugh, decisions. Oh, part of me really wants to go. We're going to go white. All right, here we go. We're going white, Tron. I couldn't decide. There were so many good decisions there. We're going to go white here as well. Got a little bit of blue in there. I'm good with it though. All right. I'm going to spray the back just to give it a little bit more wetness here. I'm just misting it. I really want that contact. It just felt a little dry. That's why I did that. Even though there was tons of paint on it. I just really want to make that contact. Now this may give me 1 or 2 ghost prints, but let's see what this ghost print does. All right. Hi, Stephanie. I didn't see you there. Are you doing well? All right, let's see what this one does. I'm gonna let this one sit. I have a sneaky feeling that I'm gonna have to do another pull for this one. But let's see what this one does. Got a lot of brayer marks right here, but that's okay. Not bad for a ghost image, no pun intended. Again, pulled up a lot of leftover paint from the plate. I'm gonna check to see this one. Yeah. I have a sneaky feeling this probably didn't work as well as I had hoped. No. I could tell right here with all this white that's left over, this didn't turn out. This is not going to turn out the way I had hoped. So I guess we could pull it and see what happens. No worries, Stephanie. Oh, maybe it did turn out. Oh, we're going to have another ghost print. Yeah, we'll have another pull. But this is actually kind of interesting. The grunge effect to it on this one is going to be an interesting. Yeah, this will be interesting. That's what I thought. Okay. We got an interesting pull. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I can use this in something else. But I do like it. Didn't turn out quite the way I thought in my head, but this is an interesting piece of fabric. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go for my favorite blue color, because now that we have white on top, the deep turquoise is my favorite blue. I'm going to do it again. This is Gelli Printing is like a box of chocolates. So maybe something will come of it. Where'd my brayer go? Sorry, just cleaning off my brush there. All right, let's see what happens. So Stephanie, just to catch you up, I'm creating fabrics for a Halloween quilt that I'm going to try to create for the first time. I've never created a quilt before. So it will be interesting to see how all that turns out. Do I have any leftover? Okay. Oh, I can't wait for losing. We're driving on. It is stuck there. Oh well, that will eventually come up. So I'm going to drive on. Here we go. So remember this one here. We had some witches in there, and I didn't get this spot right here. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to pull out this stencil right here, and then I'm going to lay my fabric on top of it just to get that spot. So in order to do that, we got to lay some paint down. Not that we haven't been laying paint down, but that's what we're doing. So let's try. That was purple last time. Let's do it. Let's do the purple again. I'm just going to put it right here in this center spot. And put some of that on there. All right. Put these ladies, all these ladies right there. Then, oh, hello. Hello. That would not worked. Okay, thank you. All right. Straighten you out just a little bit here. There we go. Much better. Like this. About right there. take my stylus again, just to get those in there, just to make good contact. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, there they are. Awesome. Okay. Pull these up. And let's lay down this one right here that we haven't used. So we got some ghosts and some witches. Interesting. A hair. That's a string. Okay. All right. We have a couple more fabrics. Okay, we have this orange one, red orange, and we have this stencil. So let's see if we can pull up some of the polka dots through here and some of the blue. So I think what I will do, if I do orange, we'll definitely cover those. So I'm just thinking about this one here for a minute because I'm not sure exactly. We got this blue one too. Okay. Right. I'm just going to go for it. We're going to go with this color. I know that that's a little crazy color right there. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the magenta to it. We may end up on another background, different background. Yep, I think we're going to end up on a different color background. We'll see. Where's my pumpkins? Let's go with this background. Okay. See what we got. This will be interesting to see what we came up with. I'm trying to stay within a certain color family. We haven't really hit the yellows yet, but that's okay. We could be having more lives on making more fabrics for the quilt that I'll talk about here in a few minutes. What's wrong with the pink on orange? Nothing's wrong with the pink on orange. I just decided that I didn't think that the intensity of the pink would have shown up on the orange since it was so dark. It was a different tone, and I thought that it wouldn't show up as well. So I went with a lighter fabric to see if I could get this blue and purple to pop. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so some of our dots that we created earlier did start showing up, and it gave a gray outline of some pumpkins. So it's a very subtle effect as far as the gray pumpkins go. But I like the way that kind of looks, and I like how we pulled up some paint from the plate that I wasn't expecting, and I was kind of hoping. So, okay. And so that is going to be an interesting all along print. I could probably take a yellow to that to pull that up, but that would take a few minutes. Okay. So, oh, well, thank you, Joan. So I'm going to go heads up here in a minute, and we're going to talk about the quilt, and we're going to have another live on making more prints, but I also want to go over all the prints that we did. So let's just quickly audition what we have done. So this was the last one that we did. Okay. Now we still have this orange one that we'll do some other time. So that'll sit in the reserves. We have this blue that had some, it's a little wet still, that had some background on it. And so that will be reserved for next time. We did this one. I really like this one. This one turned out pretty cool. We did this, the bats, and we have some purple over here. I'll probably cut this off and use this as a scrap piece or cut it from here. So we have that. Now we did make this one today. Still a little wet. But that will be very nice to put something on top of it. I'll cut this here, and then we'll add some additional color here for this one. We can still put something here, but we did the ghost and the skulls. We also did this one. I think it turned out really neat. It's almost like a ghost image. We were trying to pull up the paint from the plate. We filled in some of the orange with some more, we did orange witches on purple background and then purple witches on the orange background. And some of these strips will be, I'll cut these up and probably make some strips for something else on those. This one I really like. It's what started all the dots. But I really like the black on top of the gray. For this quilt. We also did a light purple with dark witches. We did orange witches on we masked out the witches on an orange background and we put purple on top of it, and then same with this other one. And this one had a different pattern also behind it, so the witches have a pattern on them, and so do the bats. And then, no puns intended, we have a ghost print. Anyway, we got ghost print from our ghost print and from our witches. So this one turned out really interesting as well. And so those were the fabrics that we created today, and we have more to create. So let me, I'm gonna go heads up and I'm gonna show you that quilt again. So just one second. So again, as I stated, I'm starting in August to try to print some fabrics to make this quilt. And I have a lot of mentors that will probably be assisting me since I've never made a quilt before. And my moderator will put a link to this quilt if you're interested in creating fabrics with me. He'll put a link to this free pattern, and instead of me going to go buy the fabrics to make this quilt, I thought I'd make my own. So thank you for watching, and if you're catching this on replay, thank you again for watching. I really enjoy interacting with everyone on the live, and so if you have any questions, don't forget to put them in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have on fabric gelli printing. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll come back again and we'll make some more fabrics for this quilt, because it's going to take a lot of fabrics and colors. I'm going to stay with the color family. We didn't get to the yellows today. And we got to do some more oranges, if you will. But we're going to need a lot of strips to make this. So I will have another live on making some more fabrics. And thank you again for watching. For Ratchet Up Your Art, where we take the ordinary to the extraordinary. Thank you, everyone.